Good Monday afternoon, Island Blader here. Happy October to all of you out there. Here on a dreary Monday afternoon here in Florida. Oh boy, speaking of the state of Florida, right? To think I had once considered going the 2.5 hour trip to go see the Jets go play this game, if only knowing that how they were going to be underdogs to begin with, but whatever, figure, you know what? I'm sure glad that I didn't, because my goodness, that was terrible to watch. Unbearable. At least, you would think that at least a fight would happen, at least like some sort of urgency, but my goodness, the Jaguar defense, they're a top-ranked defense for, a reason. But the Jets had 10 days rest. 10 days to prepare for this team. Okay? After the little freak show loss, giving the Cleveland Browns their first victory in a long time, and by the way, they blew another game yesterday. You think you need all the time you can to prepare for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And you couldn't seize it. In fact, you look like the same old Jets that have played like absolute garbage. Ever since the second week of the season. That's what I've seen. I saw a quarterback that looked like a scared puppy out there. When you have an offensive line that doesn't give him the time of day to throw the football. I saw a team that couldn't catch the footballs. I saw a defense, more than anything, get shredded by a mediocre quarterback. 503 yards given up in this game. The defense had no answer for the under routes. There was a couple of plays where they got beaten, left guys wide open underneath. You give up a 31-yard touchdown, flat route to TJ Yeldon. Well, I shouldn't say it was in the flat, but it was a cross route, and he took off. Nobody there. Dante Moncrief. Tremaine Johnson, this big signing we got, with all that experience. Tremaine Johnson toasted by Dante Moncrief. 65 or whatever, it was 66-yard touchdown, whatever it was. It was absolutely abominable to watch with this defense. The only consolation I can get out of them is, they forced 3 turnovers. And got only 9 points out of it. 12 points. Got to take advantage wherever you can on this team. This team did not punt the football in the entire first half of the game. All in all, it was brutal to watch. I don't want to keep making excuses for the quarterback, but like I said, he looked scared to death out there. Barely giving him the time of day, overthrowing receivers, down 13-0 in the late in the first half, trying to get something going before halftime. He throws Bilal Powell, overthrown by like 2 inches. He gets his hands on that ball. He's probably gone for a touchdown past the linebacker. 1 play later. So that was on a 3rd and 1. So 1 play later on a 4th and 1. Knowing that in all likelihood, they were probably going to get stuffed. You know what? And then Enunwa had to go back, and he had it right in the breadbasket, and he dropped him. He dropped the ball. Reliable as Enunwa has been, since, this entire season, dropped it. Mind you, he had a nice 50-yard catch and run later in the game. But my goodness, like who wanted to play yesterday? Our proud defense, Blake Bortles, completing 15 of his first 16 passes. Blake Bortles, a career-high 388 yards. Who needed Leonard Fournette, right? Another letdown on my fantasy team. How about that? But no, TJ Yeldon, no problem. Who was the kid there? Number 12, Didi, whatever the heck his name was, had a field day. It was disgusting to watch. All of it. Blake Bortles did whatever he wanted. It was ugly. And, another thing that really seemed like a slap in the face. I mean, you sit there and you're like, okay, how about stopping him? What Doug Marrone did at the end of this game, I understand he was ticked off because the Jets passed on. I guess, he might say, oh, well, the clipboard, make all these dumb excuses. What he did at the end of the game was downright inexcusable, Before I get into that, let me get on the brilliant head coach. This isn't the first time. This is not the second time that this happened. Granted, when the Jets were getting back into this game, they started to make a little noise there early in the fourth quarter. A little bit. Okay. They're down 25-12. 2 scores. Okay. Todd. I understand it's the 20-yard line. I understand that. You're pinned back on the 20-yard line. Todd, why do you continue to do this? You had 2 timeouts, and you decide, okay, in any other normal scenario, whatever, but you're down 2 scores in the fourth quarter. Why do you decide to give the ball back to the Jaguars? And to make it worse, and this is 4.5 minutes to go, mind you, 4:33 on the clock. Todd Bowles, the genius, decides to punt the ball right back to the Jaguars. And then after that moment, the Jet offense never saw the field again, except for those last 2 meaningless plays. I mean, that's unbelievable. Todd, how many times have we gone? Oh, how many times have we seen him do this? Why? Who cares? Oh, well, my defense was playing well. It doesn't matter. Okay? You're 2 scores down. I don't care about momentum. I don't care about the 3 turnovers your defense forced. I don't care. Go for it. At least it's a gamble worth going for. 4.5 minutes left in the game. You just punted any chance away. Anything. And that's one of those things that would get you fired. Now, Doug Marrone. End of the game. No, he's driving. Pretty much effectively iced the game away anyway. I think what Doug Marrone did at the end of that game was uncalled for. Just getting down there. It's like, just stop it. We're not catching up. We're not, just stop, man. So instead of having Blake Bortles kneel the ball down, he decides to keep doing direct snaps on goal to go to TJ Yeldon. I mean, is that necessary? The game is basically over. And he decides to not only keep giving direct snaps to TJ Yeldon, who, mind you, eventually did score. I think it was on 3rd, maybe 4th. I don't remember. But then he decides to go for 2. That's insulting. You have less than a minute to go. The game's over. I mean, I understand. And you just all right, just how about stopping him? The game's over. The white flag was waved. Uncalled for. Okay? It's not like it would have mattered. We lost by 19 points. Okay. The game was over. There was no need. And then to top it, he decides to go for 2 after that touchdown? Why? Oh, I think I know why. Oh, yeah. He wanted to stick it to the Jets. Okay? It would have been nice. He's a Bronx guy. Yeah, sure, you're coaching. No, that doesn't matter. I guess, he eventually got passed over. And, look who got the job. But, it was his way to stick it to Woody and to Chris Johnson. By doing all that stuff just to kind of say, it's obvious he has a personal vendetta against the Jets. Last year we beat them the Jets beat them in overtime, but whatever. Ever since the Jets beat the Jags in that overtime game, back, last year at this time, on this day a year ago, you know what? You know, Jacksonville put that as the last straw. Ever since then, they just took off. You know, that's what they did. But, I mean, I understand the Jets were going to be overmatched. You're playing a team that got within a quarter of the Super Bowl last year. I get it. But, you know, come on. It's like they were overmatched. I get it. We lost 31-12 yesterday. But that play was so Bush League. You know, that is so Bush League. When the Jets were blowing Detroit out in week 1, you know, when the Jets won by 31 points, right? They were on goal to go, right? You know, it's like a Belichick thing. You know, doing Bill Belichick, it wouldn't surprise me. But Todd Bowles was decent enough to just sit on the ball. Just sit on the ball, don't do anything. You know, don't, you know what I'm saying? But no. If I were Doug Marrone, would you do it against any other team? Except maybe New England? No, he probably wouldn't. He would have just sat on it, called it a day. It was personally, I said, no matter what he says, it's BS. Okay? He did it despite the Jets. Yeah. So, but anyway, like I said, look, the bottom line is the Jets look horrendous. 10 days to prepare for the Jaguars. You needed every bit of those 10 days to prepare for that team. And they looked exactly the part that was going to happen. Scared, unprepared, looked like garbage. So Coach Bowles could say, oh, well, we took a step back with this game. Coach, you have taken every step back every year. Every year. Ever since week 17, laying down, you know, with the playoffs staring you right in the face and fail, Todd Bowles is 11-26 since then. And yet he's still here. You know, it's obvious that these guys either quit, they don't want to play for this guy. Why don't you ask Muhammad Wilkerson that question? Or, you know what I mean? But Todd Bowles, and for once, I saw Todd Bowles get ticked off on the sideline. I think it was after the Yeldon touchdown, the first one, you know, the 31 yards where no one was there. You know, he's probably still running from the defense. He could probably be running right here to Central Florida and still not get caught. So, you know, I saw him actually get frustrated on the sideline. He actually yelled. It was like, oh my God. So, but I said, you know, again, there's no further detail I can get into this game. The Jets are crap. You know, I mean, I don't care how good the Jets are. I don't care. You are professionals, okay? Professionals. Play like it. Show up. You're on the road. Look like a team that didn't get off the plane. 3 turnovers or not. You look like a team that did not get off the plane. Okay? You know, just remember something. It's a business trip that you go on road games for. Not to have fun in a city, not to do that and that. It's business. Okay? You went on the road, you know, you played a game yesterday and you barely showed up. Barely. You know, it's a tall order. Jacksonville is a good team. You know, that, like I said, that team should have been in the Super Bowl. I get it. The bottom line is, you know, you're professionals. I don't care who you play. That being said, there's nothing else I could really highlight about the game. You know, we all saw what happened. The undisciplinary, the lack of discipline on the defense. You know, the Jacksonville defense overwhelmed. And they're lucky, I will remind you, they're lucky it wasn't worse. They are lucky it wasn't worse because their 2 shutdown corners in Jalen Ramsey and, AJ Boye, you know, both dropped interceptions. That one on Boye, the one Boye had right in their hands, you know, and the Jets had goal to go. They were on like the 5-yard line or whatever. If Boye picks the ball up, he's probably gone for like 95 yards. Or 99 yards, rather. I'm sorry. He's probably gone across the field for a touchdown. It wouldn't, you know. Jalen dropped one. I mean, my goodness. And there was one, and there was another play, by the way, that was missed. Robbie Anderson had Jalen Ramsey a step on him, beaten. Darnold missed him. Like I said, too many plays left out there. And yet, somehow, someway, still in the fourth quarter, there was a glimmer of hope in the game. Down 13 points. Punted away. That being said, there's really not much more I can say. You know, Bortles starred. Didi, I think it's Robertson. That's what his name is, Robertson. He starred, you know. Excuse me, TJ Yeldon starred. Who needed Leonard Fournette, right? You know, I have him on my fantasy team. I played him thinking he might step up. God knows I was wrong. 4.5 measly points. Sorry, Mom. So, whatever. That being said, yours truly has to get ready for work soon, so I am going to leave it here. Okay, this is your Island Blader speaking. Deuces for now. Next week, it's the Horsies coming to the first of 3 straight games at MetLife. The Broncos. Von Miller. Anyway, you know, there's a lot to get to. And mind you, Denver has one less day to prepare because they play tonight on Monday Night Football. What does it matter? There was a few years ago where the Jets played that Texans game that the Jets played. The Jets played on Thursday Night Football, and the Texans didn't play till that Monday night, and the Jets still lost the game. 4 extra days to prepare. That being said, deuces for now. Talk to you next week.